Amanda once told me she hated cliches. Said they made people lazy thinkers, like anyone who ever said it is what it is had just given up on imagination. So it's funny, in a twisted way, how her betrayal played out like the worst kind of made-for-TV script, complete with the same recycled lines, the cheap perfume, and that dead behind-the-eyes smirk I never thought I'd see from the woman I used to write poems for in the margins of grocery lists. I didn't catch her because of lipstick on a collar or some message she forgot to delete. No. Amanda was smarter than that. Or at least she thought she was. It was a Tuesday. Just an average, boring Tuesday. She'd left her car running in the driveway, which was weird, and when I stepped out to check, I noticed the engine was hot, too hot for someone who claimed to have just gone out for a quick grocery run. There was no receipt in the bag. No change. Just a single protein bar and some chewing gum. You don't need an advanced degree in forensic science to know that's not a grocery haul. So I waited. That night, while she was in the shower singing, by the way, singing like some carefree girl on a beach vacation, I opened the glove compartment of her car. Inside, underneath old wrappers and a tangled charger cord, I found a folded napkin from Auburn's. A cocktail bar 3 towns over. One we'd never been to together. Scrawled in handwriting I didn't recognize. Next time don't wear anything under that dress. No date. No name. But it might as well have been a billboard. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I just sat there in the car, napkin in hand, engine off, and let the silence eat me alive. My ears started ringing, not from noise, but from lack of it. I stayed in that damn seat for over an hour while the porch light flickered behind me and my whole world shifted off its axis. When I walked back inside, Amanda was brushing her hair in the hallway mirror. She looked up, caught my reflection, and gave me a lazy smile. "You okay?" she asked. "You look like you saw a ghost." "I saw something," I said, and held up the napkin. Her eyes didn't even flicker. She walked past me like I was a stranger blocking her way to the kitchen. "Oh my God, are you seriously going through my car now?" she called out over her shoulder, cracking open the fridge. "Jesus, Kyle? Paranoid much?" "Who's he?" I asked. She didn't answer at first. Just took out a bottle of almond milk, poured a glass like we were having a casual conversation about weekend plans. Then, with that same venom-laced calm, she leaned on the counter and said, "Eric, if you must know. And don't look at me like that. We've been circling the drain for months." I just stopped pretending. I didn't speak. So she kept going. "He's fun. He listens. He doesn't mope around the house in the same hoodie for 4 days straight. I feel wanted when I'm with him." Then, the sentence that's tattooed across my memory in fire. "I'm going to stay with my affair partner for now, but just for a while. I'll absolutely come back to our relationship later. After all, something so insignificant can't ruin it." She said that while sipping almond milk. Like she was reading from a teleprompter. Like the collapse of our life together was just some low-stakes experiment she'd revisit when she got bored. She turned her back to me. Walked out of the kitchen. I don't even remember going to bed. But 2 days later, when she came back to the house to grab some makeup, she forgot she wasn't smirking anymore. Because I was waiting. And she wasn't ready for what I had done. What she saw in that house flipped her entire smug little world on its head. And that was just the beginning. When Amanda walked in that morning, wearing the same low-effort hoodie she used to sleep in with me before it started smelling like someone else's cologne, she didn't knock. She just turned the key and strolled in like nothing had changed. Like the home she detonated was still hers to invade on a whim. She didn't see me right away. She was too busy talking to someone on speakerphone. "No, he's probably at work. I'll be in and out, babe. It's just mascara and my flat iron. No drama, I promise," she said, voice sickeningly light. "Babe." That word stopped time. She stepped into the living room and froze. Everything was different. The furniture was rearranged, our couch now pushed to the far wall. The bookshelves were empty. The rug she loved gone. And in the center of the room, where our coffee table used to be, was a single dining chair. On top of it, her wedding ring set neatly on a printed photograph of us from our honeymoon in Zion. The photo had been burned along the edges, just enough to make it clear what it used to be. That was intentional. The person on the other end of her call must have said something because she whispered, "I'll call you back," and hung up. Then she saw me. I was in the hallway, leaned against the doorframe of my bedroom. "Calm. Way too calm. You moved the house around?" she said after a long pause. "No," I replied. "I moved you out of it." She snorted. Snorted. "What is this, some theatrical tantrum? Are you seriously trying to be dramatic now?" "Jesus, Kyle." I walked over to the table by the stairs and picked up the manila folder I'd left there for her. Inside, printouts of her text exchanges with Eric, hotel receipts charged to our joint account, and screenshots of her location history from a shared app she forgot I had access to. I handed it to her. She didn't open it. Just stared at it like it might explode. "I don't need this," she said quietly. "You will," I told her. "When your mom asks what happened. Or your boss. Or when you're sitting across from a mediator trying to explain why you moved in with some guy from your marketing team before telling your husband." She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. You don't get to stroll in and grab your eyeliner like this is some sitcom breakup. You don't get to say you'll come back later like this marriage is a goddamn airport terminal. "Don't be a drama queen," she snapped, her voice suddenly laced with venom. "You were boring. You were emotionally dead. What did you think would happen? I'd wait around while you rot in routine." And there it was. The real Amanda. Not the woman I married. The one she'd become. She walked past me and headed toward the bathroom, but stopped when she saw the mirror. I'd written across it in red dry erase marker. "This is what insignificant looks like." Beneath it I had taped every receipt from her girls' nights and solo work trips. The timeline was airtight. She stood there staring at it, slowly realizing I had known longer than she thought. That I had waited. That I had watched her lie through her teeth week after week and had chosen this exact moment to let her drown in the truth. Her mascara was already in a bag by the door. So was the flat iron. She hadn't forgotten them. She came back to gauge the temperature. To test the waters and see if I'd still be her safety net after her little joyride with Eric. And instead, she got burned. Amanda didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just picked up the bag, muttered something like, "You're pathetic," and walked out. But her hands were shaking. I didn't follow her. I didn't say another word. I closed the door behind her and locked it. Not because I was scared. Because I was done. And I hadn't even told her the most important part yet. Amanda didn't know that the door she walked out of wouldn't open for her again. Not because of locks or threats or restraining orders. But because something in me had finally, and I mean finally, fractured in a way that couldn't be glued back together with apologies, tears, or last-minute guilt. I waited until I heard her car pull out of the driveway. I gave it a minute longer just in case she circled back. Then I opened my laptop and sent the email. Subject line: regarding Eric Dawson, marketing team. Attached were 6 PDFs, chat logs, expense reports, HR policy documents, and one neatly composed summary detailing how a manager sleeping with his direct report violated every clause of the company's internal conduct code. I didn't even write much in the body. Just, "Thought you should be aware of the situation involving Mr. Dawson and Amanda L. Ridgway, both currently employed under your department. I'll let the attachments speak for themselves. Regards, KR." I didn't do it out of revenge. I did it because I was sick of being the only one drowning in silence. If Amanda thought she could burn our marriage to the ground and walk into her next chapter untouched, she underestimated the kind of quiet fury betrayal builds. And I wasn't the only one who had something to say. See, what Amanda didn't realize is that people talk. Especially in offices. And especially when those people think they're smarter than everyone else in the room. The IT guy at her office? He and I played in a softball league together. Never close, but close enough. A week before I confronted her, I sent him a message. Hypothetically, I asked, "What would you do if you found out your wife was sleeping with her coworker?" He answered with, "Before or after I stopped laughing at the idiot she chose?" He knew. Everyone knew. Turns out Amanda and Eric hadn't been nearly as slick as they thought. They weren't just staying late, they were being seen. Leaving together. Whispering in conference rooms. One time, apparently, someone even caught her fixing her hair in the bathroom mirror and saying, "God, I'm gonna have to pretend to like my husband tonight." That was 2 months ago. Everyone just didn't say anything. Because nobody ever wants to be the one to drop that bomb. Nobody wants to be the person who tells you the love of your life is gutting you behind your back while still asking you to pick up oat milk on your way home. But after I asked, they started talking. And once the floodgates opened, it was like the whole damn town had been sitting on my life like it was a ticking grenade. So when Amanda got to work the next day, I can only imagine what she walked into. Because the boss? He responded to my email. Not with sympathy. Not even with thanks. Just handled. That's when things really started falling apart for her. Her texts slowed down. No more jabs, no late night, "You up?" messages meant to bait me into one last fight. She was scrambling. And I knew what was coming next. She'd try to get ahead of it. Reframe the story. Blame me. Paint herself as the one who was neglected, misunderstood, trapped in a loveless marriage where I didn't see her. But the facts were cold, hard, and time-stamped. Her fairy tale had a paper trail. Mine had closure. And the next chapter? Oh, you're going to want to see what happened when she came crawling back again. Because Amanda Ridgway never really knew how to lose. She always had a backup plan. Until now. It took her 5 days to reach out again. 5 days of silence after months of lies, gaslighting, and sneaking out under the excuse of yoga and team dinners. 5 days of probably realizing that when you burn every bridge behind you, there's no way back unless someone's foolish enough to build you another one. The message came at 11:43 p.m. on a Wednesday. Can we talk? That was it. No, I'm sorry, no context, just the coward's invitation, short, cold, and vague enough to pretend she wasn't crumbling. I didn't answer. She followed it up 10 minutes later. I'm outside. I walked to the front window, pulled the curtain back just enough to confirm, and sure enough, there she was. Sitting on the hood of her car, arms folded, hoodie up like a teenager waiting to be let into a house party. I didn't go out. I turned off the lights. She stayed for almost an hour. Then she left. But Amanda doesn't give up that easily. She just changes tactics. The next morning, I got a text from her mother. Her mother. A woman who once called me the most grounded man Amanda's ever met. She wrote, "Hey Kyle. Amanda's going through a really tough time right now. Maybe you guys can sit down and just talk it through? You've been through worse. Worse than this?" I didn't respond to her either. But Amanda wasn't done. Later that day, I got the email. Long rambling. A mess of half apologies and veiled blame. Here's a taste of it. "I'm not proud of what I did, but you weren't exactly present either. I felt alone for a long time, Kyle. Eric was a mistake, but it didn't come out of nowhere. You just stopped being you. I miss the version of us that laughed, that made plans, that didn't just exist next to each other like roommates. I thought I could find that feeling again somewhere else, but it was always about you. I see that now." That last line? I see that now. It stuck with me. Not because it meant anything, because it didn't. Amanda never missed me. She missed the version of me she could lie to. The one who didn't question why her gym bag weighed 20 pounds and smelled like hotel soap. She missed the doormat version of me. And when I didn't come crawling back, that's when she started losing control. The final card came 2 days later, disguised as Olive Branch. She showed up again. This time in a dress I hadn't seen since our 4th anniversary. Hair done. Makeup precise. It wasn't casual. It was strategy. She rang the bell. I didn't answer. She rang it again. And again. Then she knocked. Lightly at first, then harder. Finally, I opened the door, but only halfway. She smiled. "Hey." I didn't say anything. She stepped forward like she thought I'd just let her in. I didn't move. "Look," she said, already fidgeting with her bracelet, "I know I messed up. Bad. But we were good ones, right? And people mess up. People forgive. We can try again. Maybe start over. Clean slate." She looked so sincere. But the kind of sincere that comes from desperation, not reflection. "You mean like a restart?" I said calmly. "Yes," she said. "Exactly. Like, wipe the slate clean." So I leaned in. And I whispered, "You wiped your slate with Eric's zipper, Amanda. I'm not the one who made it dirty." She flinched like I slapped her. Then I closed the door. I heard her breathing on the other side. Waiting for something. A door reopening. An apology. A second chance. All she got was the click of the deadbolt. Her last card was charm. Guilt? Nostalgia. It failed. And now, with her job in question, her reputation fraying, and her mask slipping, Amanda Ridgway was finally out of moves. But what came next wasn't peace. It was the fallout. And I wasn't the only one she'd lied to. Amanda always had this talent, making people believe they were the villain in her story. Twisting reality just enough to sound logical, to make herself the victim in a game she rigged from the beginning. I'd seen her do it before. To friends, to coworkers, even to her own sister. But I never thought she'd try it with me. Not after everything. But that's exactly what she did. 2 days after I shut the door in her face, I started getting the calls. First from a mutual friend, Jason, a guy I'd known since college who somehow ended up in Amanda's social orbit after we got married. "Hey man," he said, voice cautious. "Just wanted to check in. Amanda said you've been not doing great." I let that sit. "She told you that?" I asked. "Yeah. Said you were spiraling after the separation. That you weren't sleeping. You've been lashing out, being kinda unstable." "I dunno, it didn't sound like you, but..." "It's not," I said flatly. "She's covering her own ass. Don't buy it." There was a pause. Then he asked, what really happened? So I told him. Not the version she fed him. The truth. The text messages. The hotel receipts. The napkin from Auburn's. The line, God, that line about coming back to our relationship later because something so insignificant couldn't ruin it. Jason didn't say much, but by the end of the call I could hear the cracks forming in his image of her. And that was just the beginning. Because Amanda didn't just lie to me. She lied to everyone. Her parents? They thought we were taking time apart because of my emotional unavailability. That I'd become cold and detached. That I was the one who pushed her away. So I sent them an email. No venom. No swearing. Just facts. Attached, a PDF timeline of the affair with dates, screenshots, and expenditures. A list of every lie she told tied directly to hard evidence. I even included the quote, "I'm going to stay with my affair partner for now, but just for a while," highlighted in yellow. Her mother responded within an hour. I had no idea. "I'm so sorry, Kyle. Truly. We love you and I'm horrified. We're going to talk to her." Her dad called me directly. Said if I had known, I would have driven down myself and pulled her out of that boy's apartment by the hair. But Amanda wasn't done spinning. I found out she told her boss, yes, after the HR email, that I was a vindictive ex trying to ruin her career after she finally stood up for herself. Too bad her boss already had the full report. Eric had been suspended indefinitely pending investigation. Amanda? Demoted. She wasn't technically fired, but she may as well have been. Stripped of her client list, moved into a smaller role with no team, no bonuses, no travel opportunities. Just a desk job and eyes watching her from every corner. Then came the ripple. Mutual friends started distancing. Slowly at first. Some stopped replying to her texts. Others asked me what really happened. By the time Amanda realized the ship was sinking, half the lifeboats were already gone. She sent me one more message. Just one. "You've turned everyone against me. Are you happy now?" I didn't respond. Because this wasn't about happiness. It was about truth. Amanda didn't lose her job because of me. She didn't lose her friends or family because of me. She lost everything because she built her house of lies on a foundation of arrogance and thought no one would ever call her out on it. She gambled that I'd stay silent. She lost. And now? Now it was my turn to rebuild. On my terms. But the next part wasn't just about her. It was about the unexpected message I got from someone I never thought I'd hear from. It came from an email address I didn't recognize, one of those generic Gmail accounts that looked like it had been created in a rush. No subject line. No signature. Just 2 short sentences. "I don't know if you want to hear from me, but I think you deserve the truth." Attached was a single voice memo. 37 seconds long. I stared at it for a while. The sender's name didn't help, just Eric D. My jaw clenched before I even hit play. When I finally did, I stood dead still in my kitchen, holding the phone like it might bite me. And then his voice came through. Nervous. Uneven. Like he was recording in his car, watching his rearview mirror the whole time. "I didn't know she was still living with you. I didn't know about the texts she was sending you while she was in my bed. She told me it was over. Completely over. That you were just being clingy and couldn't accept it. I wouldn't have gone near her otherwise. I swear. I'm sorry." I played it again. Then again. Every syllable felt like confirmation and mockery wrapped together, like I was being offered closure and salt in the same breath. The man she left me for, her golden parachute, was trying to bail out of the mess she'd created now that it was catching fire. And here's the irony, I didn't even hate him. Not anymore. Because for the first time I saw him for what he really was, not a homewrecker, not a villain, but just another one of Amanda's pawns. Another fool who fell for the same curated charm, the same fake vulnerability, the same siren song that once had me believing I was her salvation. She lied to him too. She promised him she was done with me. That our marriage was just a legal technicality. That I was unstable. Controlling. That he was rescuing her. And when it all went sideways, when HR came knocking, when her parents stopped returning her calls, when her inbox was full of ghosted threads and removed calendar invites, she started looking for someone else to blame. Eric was her first draft of damage control. She must have told him I'd overreacted. That I'd gone scorched earth out of jealousy. That I'd fabricated the timeline, twisted her words. That it wasn't really cheating because our relationship had already died. But now he knew the truth. And like me, he was trying to get ahead of the wave before it crushed him. I didn't reply to the email. I didn't need to. Amanda had always been a master at playing sides, but this time her 2 sides started talking. And the stories didn't match. I went for a drive that night. No destination, just roads and silence and windows down. And for the first time in weeks, my chest didn't feel like it was caving in. Not because anything was fixed, but because I wasn't carrying the weight of her lies anymore. She was. The world was finally seeing Amanda without the filter. And speaking of the world, there was one more person she forgot to lie to. Someone who'd been quietly watching this train wreck from the sidelines. Someone with her own story to tell. Amanda's sister. I hadn't heard from Marissa, Amanda's older sister, since the last Christmas party we all survived under one roof. She'd always been sharper than Amanda, less polished maybe, but real in a way Amanda never managed. The kind of person who could smell bullshit before it left your lips. So when her name lit up my phone, I didn't know what to expect. Her voice was dry. No hello, no warm-up. Just, she told me you lost your mind. That you were stalking her. That you'd ruined her reputation out of spite. Is that true? I didn't answer right away. Didn't need to. Marissa kept going. I didn't buy it. Not really. But I had to ask. Because Amanda lies when she's cornered. Always has. Remember when she got fired from that boutique job in college? She told Mom it was a budget cut. It wasn't. She stole from the register. That story had never made it to me. Then she said, "So, want to tell me what actually happened?" So I did. I told her everything. No edits, no spin. From the night Amanda came home humming from someone else's bed, to the voicemail from Eric, to the spreadsheet I made for her parents. I told her how Amanda tried to paint me as unhinged, then tried to slither back when everything fell apart. Marissa didn't interrupt. She just listened. And when I finished, she exhaled hard, like she'd been holding her breath for 6 years. God, I knew it, she muttered. I knew it. She's done this in smaller ways forever, Kyle. She used to turn her friends against each other in high school just to feel powerful. She cheated on her fiancé before you, did you know that? Told him it was a mistake, cried for 2 weeks, then blamed him for pushing her to it. She paused. And now she's doing it again. Except this time it didn't work. Marissa told me something else too. Something that spun this whole nightmare into a new orbit. Amanda wasn't just crashing at Eric's place anymore. She'd moved in with a friend Amanda used to trash behind her back. Apparently, Eric cut her off. Cut her off. The minute the company's investigation heated up, he ghosted. Packed his desk, moved to a different branch, changed his number. Poof. Amanda didn't just lose her marriage. She lost her backup plan. Now she was couch surfing at Madison's place. Yes, that Madison, the one Amanda once called a two-faced cow who sells vitamins on Instagram. That's who was feeding her frozen lasagna and keeping her from sleeping in her car. Marissa said she'd seen her the other day. Said Amanda looked broken. Not sad. Not remorseful. Bitter. Still convinced the world had done her wrong. Still calling me obsessed. Still spinning. Then Marissa said something I didn't expect. You deserve better. You always did. And I'm sorry I didn't say anything sooner. There was a pause. And if you ever want to come by for dinner again. Mom still asks about you. That's when I felt it, that strange shift from grief to clarity. That quiet understanding that even though Amanda had detonated our life, the blast radius didn't wipe out everything. Some people saw through it. Some people stayed. Amanda used to say, blood's thicker than water. But truth? Truth doesn't care about blood. And Amanda was running out of people to lie to. It happened a week later. She must have thought enough time had passed. That the smoke had cleared, that maybe the ashes were cool enough to tiptoe over. But what Amanda didn't realize was, this wasn't about time. It was about consequence. She showed up on a Sunday afternoon. No call. No text. Just the sound of tires on gravel, a door slamming, and footsteps up the porch. I knew it was her before I even looked. That heavy, practiced knock, like she owned whatever space was on the other side. I opened the door halfway. She was holding a manila envelope. No mascara. No dress. No makeup at all, actually. Hair tied back, old sneakers. Just her. Unfiltered. Can we talk? She asked. I leaned against the frame. About? She held out the envelope. I'm filing for mediation. I think we should handle this civilly. No lawyers. We can divide everything down the middle. Fair. Fair. That word coming from her felt like a joke wrapped in tinfoil and offered as a peace offering. I didn't take the envelope. She placed it on the porch step. I'm not doing this because I want to hurt you, she said. I just want to move on. We both do. I laughed. Quiet, disbelieving. You moved on 3 months ago, Amanda. You just didn't tell me. She looked away. That twitch in her jaw told me the shame was real now, not the performative kind she'd used on Eric, or her parents, or her coworkers. This was different. This was Amanda realizing the final chapter was no longer hers to narrate. Then she said the thing that made everything click. I thought you'd always be there, she whispered. That no matter how bad things got, you'd still be you. Still be soft. Still love me. And there it was. Not love. Not regret. Entitlement. She hadn't come here to apologize. She came to bargain. Because Amanda's world was falling apart. Eric had cut ties completely. Word around the office, yes, I still had eyes, was that he transferred to the Phoenix branch and refused to speak her name. Madison kicked her out 2 days prior after Amanda borrowed her credit card to buy a spa package just to feel human again. Her own mother wouldn't return her calls. She was out of places to run. And I was her final attempt at soft landing. You don't get to show up now and pretend we're civil, I said. You made your choice. You lit the match. I just didn't run into the fire to save you. You're being cold, she snapped, her composure slipping like wet paint. You're not this person, Kyle. You never knew who I was. You only knew who you could use. That's when she finally broke. She started shouting. Not crying. Shouting. Not because she was hurt, but because her version of the story wasn't working anymore. She'd lost control of the narrative and didn't know how to exist without it. You think you're a victim? You think you're some hero now because you exposed me? You're not. You're just bitter. You're petty. You'll never move on because you're too scared to admit you weren't enough. I didn't flinch. I waited for her to burn through it all. The accusations, the insults, the desperate swipes at my character, each one less coherent than the last. And when she was done, breathing heavy, shaking slightly, I said just one thing. I was enough. You just wanted more. And now you've got nothing. I walked back inside. Left the envelope on the porch. She stood there for a few more seconds, probably expecting me to come back out. I didn't. I watched from the window as she got in her car. No screeching tires this time. No grand exit. Just a quiet, pathetic pull away from a house that used to be hers. She hadn't come to make peace. She came because she thought she still mattered. And the silence that followed her was the answer she wasn't ready for. Healing doesn't start with closure. That's a lie people feed you to sell self-help books and Instagram mantras. Healing starts in the quiet. In the small moments. The ones that don't look like anything when they happen, but hit different when you realize they didn't hurt the way they used to. Like folding laundry without thinking about whether her socks are mixed in. Like sleeping on my side of the bed without feeling the cold where she used to be. Like walking past her favorite cafe and not flinching when I hear a laugh that sounds like hers. That's where healing starts. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's not fireworks or breakthroughs. It's just less pain. One layer at a time. It was 2 weeks after she dropped that envelope on my porch. I never touched it. Let the rain soak it until the ink bled and the paper curled into a soggy little carcass of her final power play. Eventually I threw it out, not because I needed to, but because I could. That was the day I knew I was done being the version of myself that waited. I started seeing people again. Not romantically, not yet, but socially. Friends I'd pushed away while trying to keep my house from collapsing under her betrayal. People who, to their credit, never said, I told you so, even though a few definitely could have. Jason and I met up for a beer. He clinked his glass against mine and said, You're smiling more. I didn't even realize it until he said it. I was. And it felt real. I picked up an old hobby too, photography. Dug out the dusty Canon from the back of the closet. Took it on hikes. Captured things that didn't lie, didn't manipulate, didn't wear a mask and call a charm. Just light. Shadows. Honest stuff. I started journaling again. Not for anyone. Not for Reddit. Just for me. 1 page a night. Sometimes 2. And in those pages I didn't write about Amanda. I wrote about what was next. I made a list of things I'd always wanted to do but hadn't. Travel spots. Books I'd shelved. Skills I'd shelved. Parts of myself I'd shelved to make space for her chaos. I booked a weekend trip to Colorado. Just me and a camera. I donated her stuff. Not all of it. Just enough to shift the gravity of the house. Her yoga mat. Her chipped favorite mug. That hideous gold-framed mirror she swore made the living room pop. I replaced it with a map of places I wanted to go. Started sticking pins in it like it was a mission, not a dream. That's when I realized something else. I didn't miss her. I missed the version of myself I'd had to kill to keep her happy. And slowly, quietly, I was bringing him back. There were still rough days. Moments where a smell or a song or a stupid joke on a sitcom would tripwire a memory I didn't ask for. But they passed quicker. They didn't drag me under like before. They floated by. Ghosts, not anchors. Marissa and I stayed in touch. She checked in sometimes. Sent a book she thought I'd like. Told me Amanda moved again, some Airbnb out by the lake. Working retail now. Quiet job. No team. No meetings. No Eric. No spotlight. Just her. In the shadow she made. I didn't ask for more. I didn't need to know. Because this chapter wasn't about her anymore. It was about me. It's quiet now. And not in the lonely way it used to be, the kind of quiet that echoed through walls after Amanda left for her work trips that made me question whether silence was peace or punishment. No, this quiet is earned. It's calm. Solid. Like the house finally exhaled with me. I sat on the back porch this morning with a cup of black coffee, same mug I used every day since I bought it on that Colorado trip. It says breathe through it. Cheesy, yeah? But when I saw it in that dusty gift shop in Estes Park, something about it felt like a challenge. Like it dared me to actually try. And I did. I've changed. That's not some motivational cliché. I mean really at the marrow level. I learned how to be alone without being lonely. I learned that someone lying to you for months doesn't make you a fool. It makes them a coward. And maybe most importantly, I learned that letting go isn't weakness. It's the strongest damn thing I've ever done. See, I used to think love was about staying. About endurance. About pushing through every storm and clinging to each other even when the winds turned violent. That's what Amanda fed me for years, that if I left, I'd be the one who gave up. But leaving? Walking away? Drawing a line? That's what saved me. Amanda didn't ruin me. She revealed me. She tore away the version of myself I dulled down to keep her satisfied, the agreeable man, the soft-spoken fixer, the guy who absorbed blame like a sponge so she never had to feel a drop of it. And when she left, I didn't just lose her. I found me. The version of me who says no. Who sets boundaries. Who doesn't take apologies in exchange for dignity. The version who doesn't need to be anyone's safe option. I don't want to be the fallback. The plan B. The thing they come back to after the thrill fades. If you're reading this and you're in that limbo where you know something's wrong but keep trying to make it right, I want you to hear me loud. You don't owe someone a second chance just because they cry. You don't owe someone forgiveness because they finally noticed your pain after causing it. You don't owe someone your future just because they regret the past. You owe yourself the kind of love you've been giving away for free. So here's what I took with me. Peace is louder than chaos when you stop chasing people who never cared to stay. You're not hard to love. They just weren't built to hold you right. And sometimes the apology you never get is the one you don't need. Amanda will probably rewrite this story a dozen ways to anyone who'll listen. She'll paint herself in softer shades, explain things with half-truths and teary eyes. But that doesn't change what happened. And it doesn't change that I survived it. Actually, scratch that. I didn't just survive. I walked through fire and I built a life out of the ash. And this time, it's mine.